I think Kamala Harris has a very tricky, and I said this already, Kamala Harris has a very tricky situation ahead of her because she can't separate from Joe Biden so dramatically, but on the messaging front, she can at least be a little bit more tolerant and drop certain aspects of the Biden campaigning. Remember what I told you about Kamala Harris and how she will hurt her own momentum if she doesn't separate herself from Joe Biden on immigration and other shit? If she doesn't actually separate herself from Joe Biden in a meaningful way? And if she does the worst possible thing that she could ever do, which is capitulate the right-wing framing and immediately get scared by right-wing attacks and lean on your centrist bona fides, I think she's going to do that. It seems a new Kamala immigration ad just dropped on the timeline.
On the border, the choice is simple. Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents. Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents. Kamala Harris supports investing in new technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Donald Trump blocked funding for technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Kamala Harris supports spending more money to stop human traffickers. Donald Trump blocked money to stop human traffickers. Kamala Harris prosecuted transnational gang members and got them sentenced to prison. Trump is trying to avoid being sentenced to prison. There's two choices in this election. The one who will fix our broken...
Controlling the border is insanely popular, though, despite reality. This is what a lot of people want to hear. First time analyzing campaigns. Welcome. Must be your first time, I guess, because you're saying this, because this is pure delusion, okay? Nobody thinks the Liberal Party is the pro-border control party. If you are the Democratic Party, you are pro-immigration. If you are the Republican Party, you are pro-killing immigrants, okay? No one is going to turn around and be like, you know what? I've decided that I'm going to vote for the real border control party, which is the Democrats. They're not. All you will do is get people to go, oh shit, even the Democrats are agreeing that the border is a massive problem. I think I'm going to go with the party that's been saying that for years. Good luck. Good luck. Have fun.
An immigration system and the one who's trying to stop her. On the border?
That's pandering to swing voters. No, that's not. You're literally doing the opposite pandering. No, you're wrong. You get a moment of hypocrisy, but the much broader issue that you are now capitulating on is the notion that the Republicans were always right when they said immigrants are rapist drug dealers. Don't come in here with some foo-foo shit if you're new. The salient part of this messaging is Republicans are right on immigration. Immigrants are rapists, drug dealer, murderers. And we in the Democratic Party want to legitimately try and stop them from raping your children. This community hates this message, but the 40 plus parents in my suburb, Michigan, literally said to me that they're happy Kamala, she could fix the border for once since they heard Trump block a fix. I was floored. No, it doesn't matter. Your parents, I suspect, in your Michigan suburb are still libbed up the wazoo though, right? Did this actually change the dynamic for them? Were they like, oh, I was actually going to vote for Donald Trump, but I believe Kamala will be the one. I am 40 plus. I am the parent. These are other parents. Oh. Okay, those other parents, were they actually voting for Donald Trump and now they're voting for Kamala Harris? Did Kamala Harris actually win them over on the border front? Because if they believe that, they're already liberals. So they're already a given, they're already a vote to take for granted anyway. My argument is for those in the actual margins, for like people in the middle that are like, oh man, I don't know. I don't really want to vote for Trump again. He's really gross and weird. For those people, this is a push. They see this and they go, most of them are probably already liberals. I get your point. Just sharing these people fell victim to the right wing, to the R framing. And I think it was the media. Yes. Weren't you just saying candidates need to earn your vote law? Yeah. That's why I think Kamala Harris needs to change her sentiment on immigration. The reason why she has to do that is because people that personally are invested in the notion that immigrants are like drug dealer rapists and they must be dealt with strong border control are voting for the Republican Party. They are. If you don't message against that front, and show no distinction. Wait, what am I missing? You said you're missing the whole... You said I'm missing the whole rally, but like, it hasn't even started. Yo, some of you chatters are so weird. Like, what am I missing? You're missing the top of the hour ad break. That's what you're missing. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, if you want to miss the ads at the top of the hour, that's all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free. Bro, would you really vote for Kamala if she gave lip service to immigration in Palestine? She's not going to change in any substantial way and will govern exactly like Biden and Dems in general. Brother, you think it's my vote that I'm talking about when I have these conversations? I don't believe, even for a little bit, that the Democratic Party will actually push the needle on these issues at all. When I talk about messaging, I'm talking about actual voters and what actual voters respond to. Okay? Hello? Listen, if you're Trump, how do you counter this? Get shot in the other ear? No, you just keep saying Kamala Harris recognizes that the border is a problem. Why didn't she do anything for the 4 years that she was the border czar? There you go. I wrote it for you. Okay? Oh, even Kamala Harris now recognizes that the border was a problem. Why didn't she do anything? She was the border czar for 4 years. Don't say she wasn't. Yes, she was. She wasn't the border czar. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Liberal media so perfectly has the capacity to make liberals hallucinate things. Okay? First of all, she literally was. She went to Guatemala to tell Guatemalans to not come to the United States of America because Brandon was putting her on shit duty. Okay? Brandon, in the most selfish way possible, knowing full well that he still wanted to go and run again and be the president again because he was a spiteful piece of shit old man, literally, one, picked Kamala Harris, who was not exactly an energizing candidate, who was objectively a loser in the 2019 primaries, okay? That's number one. That's why he picked her. And then he literally put Kamala Harris on all the worst possible jobs that a VP can do, one of which was the border. Why do you think there was so much goddamn back and forth about Kamala never going to the border, even though she's the border czar? Okay? That's literally the point of a VP. No, it's not right-wing propaganda. MSNBC and liberal media is now running defense to say she wasn't the border czar. That's bullshit. That's not bullshit at all. Kamala Harris was put on the border. I don't care what now PolitiFact says. Biden tasked Harris with stemming the migration on southern border. There it is. March 24th, 2021. But she wasn't the border czar. What do you guys think the border czar means? It means a person appointed to work on the border. You guys are so stupid. That's just what that means. Okay? It's not like an official sanctioned position. We are not in an emirate. Okay? It's not literally like an official sanctioned position, guys. It's just what people say. When someone is tasked with that duty, they'll say, oh, this person is in charge of the border. They are the border czar. Okay? Oh, my Lord. Czar isn't a real title. Why are you using right-wing language? No, I'm not using right-wing language. I'm using what was colloquially utilized early on by everyone. Only now it is seemingly politically not great to say so because the right-wing are pointing to that to be like Kamala Harris was tasked with the border. We're having the most idiotic semantics argument currently, okay? She just openly endorsed the right-wing legislation and we're circle jerking over semantics of her role as VP. I know. And the reason why liberals are doing that is because they are coping, okay? So she fucked up as on the border as the borders are. Dude, she can't deviate from Joe Biden when she was literally her vice president. That's why I said it was shit duty, okay? They put her on literally cleaning up shit, okay? They did that deliberately. They did that so that, all of these like unpopular things, Hasan finally realizing how stupid his chat actually is. Yeah, as opposed to what, right-wing chatters? Shut the hell up. If anything, right-wingers do this all the time to a worse degree. It's fine if a big chunk of my community disagrees with me on this. My job is to explain things, okay?
Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris by...
The border czar is not an officially sanctioned position, you dumb fucks. It's simply colloquially said about a person that is tasked with a specific part of the administration's agenda. Okay? That's it. That's precisely the reason why liberals were saying border czar, as everybody does. It's normal. Like, it's not a... Like, it's so stupid. Then why say it? Because... Wait, what? Now you're making up words? Because that is what the colloquial adoption of the word is. That's what it is. That's what it is. When someone is tasked with a job in the administration, you say, oh, that's the drug czar. That's the border czar. Like, that is a normal term that people utilize. It doesn't mean anything beyond the fact that they are tasked with that role in the administration. The fact that there is now a semantics argument back and forth in this circumstance is so stupid. It's an informal term, exactly. Is employed in media and popular usage to refer to high-level executive branch officials who oversee particular policy field. There has never been a U.S. government office with the formal title czar. Hasan, I love you. Just say this is the term people have been using for decades for these positions. Then move on. Again, love you. I am Brian Kill Me, though at chat, getting you off on this bullshit. Anyway, whether you like it or not, this semantics argument over Kamala Harris was never the official border czar. That's not a real position. And the media never referred to her as such will only allow you to look like a dumbass on this issue by the absolute, like, sub 10-point IQ Republicans who are remembering to breathe manually because of how stupid they are. They can just point to this compilation and make you look like an asshole. My job here is to be honest, okay? And let me tell you, I haven't been wrong so far. I told you the Kamala swap would be good. So just listen to what I have to say, shut the fuck up, sit down, and maybe, I don't know, take advantage of the amount of experience I have in this issue as I've been professionally covering politics from a leftist position for the past 10 years. I know what I'm talking about. Shut the fuck up. You don't. I'm sorry. God damn. The border issue is born out of nothing. It's just made up. Yeah, PolitiFact. Mostly false. Thanks, PolitiFact. Anyway, here, they can just run this video till the cows come home.
President Kamala Harris to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
This is a MRC Newsbuster video. They're low on the totem pole in terms of like Republican Party operatives. And even they were able to scrape together this like very obvious notion that like liberals are lying to you. This also ties back to liberals. Remember how they lied to you about Joe Biden being mentally equipped? Remember how Joe Biden, everyone in mainstream media told you that Joe Biden was totally with it and mentally equipped to run the country? It perfectly plays into that. You can just turn around and be like, oh yeah, there it is. In the tank, liberal media in the tank for whoever the liberals are, whoever the liberal candidate is. I've never heard the word border czar before. No, dude, you've never heard it because Republicans didn't use it as a landing point against the current person running for president before. But yes, of course, the term czar is just a colloquial term applied to a person in charge with whatever executive role that they are tasked with by the administration. Oh my God. It's like saying Bernie was never known as the Amendment King because we don't have kings in this country. Yeah, it must be Russian disinformation. Bro, you're still on this shit? I am still on this shit because this seemingly is a position that liberals want to fight on, which is very stupid. No, second Bush didn't start it. FDR started it. Anyway. The messaging is easy. The Republicans are politicizing another informal thing. That's weird again. No, it's not. They're not politicizing an informal thing. the point of contention here isn't what Kamala Harris is called. The point of contention is what Kamala Harris's task was. This will be used against her.
Started with the last administration, but it's our responsibility to deal with it humanely and to stop what's happening. And so this increase has been consequential. But the vice president's agreed, among the multiple other things that have happened in the meeting, and I appreciate it, agreed to lead our diplomatic effort and work with those nations to accept the returnees and enhance migration enforcement at their borders. We're already talking with Mexico about that. She's already done that. We're going to be dealing with a full team now that we have to be able to deal with the problem here at home, but also to deal with it now in terms of in country. And I can think of nobody who's better qualified to do this than this is a woman who ran the second largest Attorney General's office in America after the United States Attorney General in the state of California, and has done a great deal of promoting human rights, but also fighting organized crime in the process. So it's not her full responsibility and job, but she's leading the effort, because I think the best thing to do is to put someone who, when he or she speaks, they don't have to wonder about, is that where the president is? When she speaks for me, doesn't have to check with me. She knows what she's doing, and I hope we can move this along. So, Madam Vice President, thank you. I gave you a tough job, and you're smiling, but there's no one better capable of trying to organize this.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and for having the confidence in me. And
He's so coherent now. Guys, this is from 2021. This is terrible on every level, raising the salience of your worst issue, muddling the threat you claim to believe Trump represents, tethering yourself to an objectively awful policy package. Exactly. In this cycle, Dems have simultaneously been messaging that Trump is a Hitler-like figure about to do concentration camps and supercharged deportation, and also that he's a total phony, and if anything, not tough enough on migrants, unlike Dems, who will crack down more seriously. If you're going to do this kind of doublespeak, do it via super PACs on TV in like 6 states where it maybe plays around the margins. Don't have the candidate embrace this ill-conceived posturing herself as a rally applause line in Georgia in front of an entirely black young audience. Hello! What do you want? Do you want everyone in the Democratic Party to also be like, yeah, you're right, immigrants are rapists, drug dealers, and we got to put an end to that? Do you want that? Why are you helping the Republican Party? How is the entire Democratic Party just completely so broken, fundamentally, so insane on this issue, on every issue, really? Oh my God. Please end this stun log with a video of the Aussies on stream poking fun of you. No. Oh. It's not just the media. Democratic Representative Val Hoyle is saying Harris wasn't a border czar. I don't care. They're stupid. The Democrats are stupid. They have the capacity to be stupid. As a matter of fact, they're very rarely not stupid. Okay? You have to remember something. The swap out from that old man to this dynamic younger candidate was the one instance where they weren't stupid. And instead of leaning on the advantage that they get from that, they're still running with training weights on for no reason. It's so wild. Like, you have a unique opportunity. You have a unique opportunity in this circumstance to just like unmarry yourself from some of the worst instincts of the prior administration, an administration that you're still a part of. But instead, you're just literally running the table and being like, no, dude, this Hitlerian Republican is actually not Hitlerian enough. We are the real Hitlerians when it comes to dealing with these goddamn barbaric rapist monsters that are Mexicans coming over the border. And now these dumbass liberals are going to run around trying to posture on this. Oh, well, that's weird. That's weird. This is weird. That's weird. And they're going to f that up too. In 2021, the president assigned Kamala Harris a task force to deal with the border crisis using right-wing framing. Even at that point, you're so locked and loaded that you've forgotten that at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break. Stop getting stunlocked and give us a solution. I already have a million times over. Immediately cut the shit with the border. Never talk about it, whatsoever, and hammer on the issues where you have. None of that has anything to do with the use of the word czar, Lamau. What? Yeah, because the Twitch streamer knows more. I do, actually. I literally do. I don't know what to tell you. I do know more than you, okay? And I'm not feigning stupidity and confusion. The only person who's stupid and possibly confused is you, chatter. What the fuck is going on? You're smarter than all God Emperor Hasan. No, I'm an idiot, okay? I'm an idiot. I always say that I'm an idiot. But even as an idiot, I can see certain things, okay? Conceding to your opponent's framing that is completely made up. Conceding to your right-wing opponent's framing on an issue that you're losing on by 40 points is the dumbest thing you can do. It's like being LeBron and wanting to play chess instead of a dunk competition against a grandmaster. The Republicans are the grandmasters at right-wing framing on immigration, okay? Play your role. Play to your strengths. Bro, LeBron never won the dunk competition? Yeah, but who do you think would win in a dunk competition, him or Magnus? Oh my God. What is going on right now? Here's the 3-minute ad break now, by the way. I'm running it.
There's no question that this is a challenging situation. As the president has said, there are many factors that lead president to leave these countries. And while we are clear that people should not come to the border now, we also understand that we will enforce the law, and that we also, because we can chew gum and walk at the same time, must address the root causes that cause people to make the trek, as the president has described, to come here. And I look forward to engaging in diplomacy with government, with private sector, with civil society, and the leaders of each in El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to strengthen democracy and the rule of law and ensure shared prosperity in the region. We will collaborate with Mexico and other countries throughout the Western Hemisphere. And as part of this effort, we expect that we will have collaborative relationships to accomplish the goals the president has and that we share. I also look forward to working with members of the Congress who I think share our perspective on the need to address root causes for the migration that we've been seeing. And needless to say, the work will not be easy, but it is important work. It is work that we demand and the people of our countries, I believe, need to help stem the tide that we have seen. So thank you, Mr. President, for your confidence.
Biden pledges to dismantle Trump's sweeping immigration changes, but can he do that? Heard on the Morning Edition on September 14th, 2020. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is pledging to dismantle the sweeping changes President Trump has made to the American immigration system if he wins the White House in November. But that's easier said than done. I don't think it's realistic that Biden in 4 years could unroll everything that Trump did, says Sarah Pierce, a policy analyst at the Migration Policy Institute, a nonpartisan think tank in Washington, D.C. Because of the intense volume and pace of changes the Trump administration enacted while in office, even if we have a new administration, Trump will continue to have had an impact on immigration for years to come. The Trump administration has undertaken more than 400 executive actions on immigration, according to the Migration Policy Institute. Those include tougher border and interior enforcement, restricting asylum, rolling back deferred action for childhood arrivals, slashing refugee visas, streamlining immigration courts, and creating Remain in Mexico. What the administration has sought to do is simply turn off immigration and to do it unilaterally by presidential edict without the approval of Congress or the consent of the American people, says Omar Jadwat, director of the ACLU's Immigrant Rights Project. That project should be reversed. That's exactly what Biden pledges to do. His position paper on immigration, 51 bullet points to fill 22 pages, seeks to roll back Trump's accomplishments and reenact Obama-era policies. Okay? If I'm elected president, we're going to immediately end Trump's assault on the dignity of immigrant communities. We're going to restore our moral standing in the world and our historic role as a safe haven for refugees and asylum seekers, Biden said in his acceptance speech at the virtual Democratic National Convention. The former vice president has an exhausted to-do list. Within his first 100 days, Biden says he would implement a wide range of policies, not another mile of border wall. No more separating families. No more prolonged detentions or deportations of peaceable, hardworking migrants. Here is KP PBS. Report reveals migrant family separations continue under Biden. This is from July 29, 2024. The border proposal that Kamala Harris just flaunted as a signature policy achievement that she will have if elected president literally continues building Trump's wall. Biden rescinded the policy in January 2021, yet 3 years later, more than 1,400 families remain separated. The report argues that separations have happened for decades, but under the Biden administration, they are a result of bureaucratic processes, lack of transparency and accountability, not purposeful cruelty. Let's get back to Biden's claims, okay? Biden also said he would restore the asylum system and support alternatives to immigrant detention, such as case management, that allows an applicant to live and work in the community while their case works its way through the hearing process. Trump has derisively called this catch and release, okay? And Biden would fully reinstate DACA, which allows migrants brought into the U.S. illegally as children to live and work without fear of deportation. But if he's elected, Biden would face a host of obstacles that could slow his immigration counter-revolution, okay? They don't want to create such a chaotic situation at the border by welcoming or incentivizing another massive influx from Central America, says Jerry Kramer, who's affiliated with the Center for Immigration Studies. The Center for Immigration Studies being presented as a think tank which favors restrictions on immigration is insane. It's basically a Nazi operation, okay? The Center for Immigration Studies is literally VDARE, but a think tank. So the fact that like NPR is doing both sides are saying a lot of things is crazy, okay? Remember, just because something is presented with neutral tone doesn't change that reality that they are still very much advocating for Nazi shit. This is a Nazi think tank. Let's continue. Federal border officials are worried what would happen if Biden cancels bilateral agreements with Mexico that have dramatically slowed the migrant flow. Okay? Why am I talking about all of this? Because I hope at some point in this article they will show what the percentage points Biden was close enough to on Donald Trump on the issue of immigration in this election cycle, because he was performing significantly better than he was before he dropped out on the issue of immigration in 2020. I believe that in 2020, Biden was much closer to Trump. Trump was still beating him on immigration because Republicans are incredibly well-equipped to deal with this, with reactionary posturing, okay? Yeah, CIS is literally founded by eugenicists and white supremacists. I know, it's insane. Anyway, where the is it? Biden has not said if he would reverse the order to reopen the borders and jumpstart the asylum process. Biden presidency would likely find itself skirmishing. This was in 2020. Biden was running to the left of Donald Trump on the issue of border control, border policy. Okay? Where the is it? I want to see how does anyone have poll numbers from 2020? How can you criticize Kamala for her politics on immigration if Ursula von der Leyen was just half as good as America's? I would become an EU federalist immediately instead of just saying bullshit on Twitch. It is so easy to be idealistic instead of pragmatic when you don't have any political power. Dude, I'm not even talking about this from the morality standpoint. I'm talking about this from electoral consequences. Okay, yes, I know European Union leadership is basically Hitlerian when it comes to the issue of immigration. Far worse than the United States of America is. I don't know why you've been so consistently annoying in this chat, dude. Stop chirping. Jesus Christ. You're not saying anything right now. You're just talking about how racist the EU is. God damn. Thank you. In 2020, Biden held a 1-point lead over President Trump on the issue of border security. In 2024, President Trump has a 27-point lead over Biden on border security.
Question. Take a look at this question. Again, the trend line here is so telling.
Would Biden or Trump do a better job on border security / immigration? In 2020, in one of the most favorable polls, because he was never fully beating Donald Trump on the issue of immigration, but he was objectively closer to Donald Trump on the issue of immigration.
Would Biden or Trump do a better job on border security / immigration? You go back 4 years ago to June of 2020. Joe Biden held it within the margin of error, but still a slight lead at +1 point over Donald Trump on the issue of border security and immigration. Take a look now at May of 2024. Look at this movement in Donald Trump's direction Now he is trusted on the issue of border security and immigration versus Joe Biden by a 27-point margin. That is nearly a 30-point jump.
I wonder what this means. Maybe we should go further right into immigration. That will certainly help our chances. Oh, what could this mean? On June 2020, Biden was advocating for a significantly more progressive policy on immigration, and he was 1 point higher than Trump in the eyes of Americans on who will do a better job on immigration between him and Trump. It almost feels like right-wing framing on the issue of immigration and not counter-messaging against right-wing hysteria for 4 years on the issue of immigration literally made the country significantly more reactionary on the issue of immigration. And now the Democrats are capitulating to the right-wing framing on the issue of immigration, and the Republicans are putting their nutsack all over the board on the issue of immigration. At the very least, you should never bring up immigration ever again. It should be something you run away from in the same way that Donald Trump runs away from abortion. He never talks about it. He rarely ever talks about it. He only talks about it when people slam him in the face with that question. Okay? I wonder why. This is from 2020. New polling. Trump's immigration policy is a clear political loser. New election night polling released today by Public Opinion Strategy shows the president's position on immigration was a net negative with voters, and the administration's positions on providing a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, DACA, and family separation at the border potentially pushed away key voter groups like independent men and women and suburban voters, groups that the president failed to score well with. Exclusive poll from July 27, 2020, where immigration could swing critical 2020 voters. Survey found weaknesses on immigration messaging for Trump among some of the voters, including white, non-college educated men who put him over the top and bare victories in 3 of those 4 states in 2016. It's a vulnerability for Democrats not to talk about immigration, said Tyler Moran, executive director of Immigration Hub, which advocates for immigration and is run by several Democratic congressional staffers. Okay? Ceding it to Trump is leaving votes on the table. Nearly 3 in 10 Wisconsinites would be more likely to vote for a Democrat if shown certain pro-immigration arguments, according to Civ's predictive model. The same is true for a quarter of the Michigan and Colorado populations, but less than 1 in 10 in Pennsylvania. To help determine which voters were persuadable, survey participants were shown 1 of 3 immigration-related ads. 1 from the Trump campaign, 2 pro-immigration ads from Immigration Hub featuring a veteran and an elderly American who relies on an immigrant health worker. Immigration for the Sun Belt, Gaza for the Rust Belt. Those are two signature agenda policy positions that Kamala Harris has to run away from, at least on the messaging front. And she's not doing that. She's just going along with it, which is objectively bad. And because I am the most annoying, stubborn asshole on the planet, I will never be swayed away from my positions on this because I know they're correct. And it doesn't matter if like all of the Mamala riders that leave when I start criticizing Kamala Harris, they leave and look for another independent outlet that will give them the MSNBC style commentary that they want to hear. Make no mistake, I talked about Israel-Palestine for 10 months straight, okay? You will all come back when you find out that I was right. This isn't me saying, oh my God, I hate Kamala Harris, she's the absolute worst, I'm never going to vote for her or anything like that. This is me simply saying that if Kamala Harris, follows Joe Biden's track record on this shit and simply relies on being youthful and younger than Joe Biden, she might still win, but the margins will be far worse, okay? And there is no reason to stay in these super slim margins. She will also cut away at the momentum that she has, okay? Look at border in the article. Trump continues to lead on the economy. Biden holds advantage on coronavirus. Trump is leading 16 points on securing the border and controlling immigration, 49% to 33%, okay? That's why I said the other poll that we saw where Biden was leading Trump on the border from June was a unique one, okay? Trump was always leading on securing the border or controlling immigration, especially because it's a right-wing framing. But if asked about like what to do with immigration, how to handle immigration, ultimately, Joe Biden was closer to Donald Trump in 2020 and ended up beating Donald Trump and specifically helped secure key constituencies that allowed him to win over Donald Trump in all of these states. Okay? But guess what? If you looked at the last poll, as they're showing here, Donald Trump was beating Biden by 27 points. 27 points. Do you understand? 27 points. Because they leaned into, in the most idiotic fashion, first, they never played defense. They never counter-messaged against the right-wing hysterical pandering on immigration, which allowed the entire media apparatus to run with right-wing framing on the issue of immigration. Then they saw that the polls were shifting and the people were desperate for blood in terms of immigration. So then they capitulated to the right-wing framing on immigration and said, oh, we are going to be the ones who actually are going to control immigration. Yeah. Here's a video from
Narrative
2021.
Is incredibly annoying from the media, by the way. They are absolutely feeding into this. And they're going to cause the Democrats to behave in a totally, even in a more reactionary way than they were already going to behave. It is so incredibly manufactured. There's always been a crisis at the border. When there are humanitarian problems occurring at the border as a consequence of the conditions there, 120 degrees they have to traverse in the desert, all that sort of stuff. And then also the American government adding on to the cruelty with the way that they choose to deal with people that are crossing the border, that are seeking asylum. There is an extra crisis on the border. There's always a crisis on the border. It's never stopped. The problem is the way media covers it. You can either cover it like you do under the Trump administration, which is somewhat honestly, from a moral grandstand point of view, like an actual honest point of view, by saying this is really messed up, this is really horrible, the way that we are treating these people is absolutely ridiculous. Or you can treat it in a way where you look at the border and you say, there's a gigantic crisis happening in the border currently, and it's really bad because so many people are coming in. So many people are coming in. So many people are coming in. What are we going to do? Depending on who is in charge, we either deal with it from the point of view of reactionary garbage, claiming that this is a huge issue, not taking an actual stance on it. That's no different than what Fox News says. No different than what Fox News says. When MSNBC is saying it, or whenever, the Associated Press is covering it in that way, they're doing a disservice. If they truly have a left-wing point of view in the way that, so many imply, then they have to recognize that simply offering contentious coverage on a particular matter does not mean that you're doing honest coverage on the issue. So, House GOP leaders head to the southern border as immigrants ready, as Democrats ready immigration bills. So, Democrats are putting forward some immigration bills right now, and the hilarity here is what Kevin McCarthy, California Republican and House Minority Leader, is decided he's going to do a news conference about the U.S.-Mexico border policy outside the Capitol on Thursday, or did one, and has decided to do a field trip to the border. Remember, these guys are the same guys that laughed at AOC when she went to the border camps and cried, right? So now they're going to do the exact same thing, but from the Republican side. Now they themselves are going to go and be like, oh my God, a brown person walked through an imaginary border that we had set here. Obviously, this means every American is going to be raped. All white Americans are about to be raped and murdered. We need to literally start shooting people. So that's where we're at right now with the border crisis.
Damn, dude, this guy has sound political instincts. That's crazy. How did he predict that the Republican Party would run on the most unimaginably vitriolic rhetoric on immigrants that would sweep the nation if left unchecked by the Democratic Party? We certainly shouldn't. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Who is this guy? I should have him on the broadcast. Who is this guy? I should probably have him on the broadcast to hear his perspective.
And the media is absolutely allowing Republicans to get away with it. This crisis at the border is spiraling out of control, McCarthy told reporters last week, and it's entirely caused by the actions of this administration. He sent a letter to Biden in early March requesting a meeting to discuss the increasing numbers of migrants at the border and work together to solve it. Like what? What are we going to do? What are the Democrats going to do? Work together with Kevin McCarthy? Like what? How are they going to work together? They're already, overflow facilities and all this other cruel shit that Democratic administrations rarely ever scale back. Wait, what's going on at the border? Absolutely nothing that is different, okay? That's the whole point that I'm trying to make here. Nothing different is happening at the border that hasn't happened in perpetuity in the United States of America. The only difference is an administration is different now, and they're going to do still the senseless cruelty on the immigrants that are trying to find a better life for themselves. But this time the media is going to act as the cudgel or act as they are contentious and pretty much push the administration that was already willing to do reactionary garbage to begin with to immigrants because nobody gives a shit about them. They're going to use the public opinion on immigration as a reason as to why they have to have these detention centers and why they have to do these like dragnet ICE raids and shit like that. That's it.
Back then, did you think their lies would ever get as insane as they are now? They were saying hundreds of thousands for a while, but now they're just saying 20 million, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm watching myself because everything I said on March 15th, 2021, in terms of how right-wing strategy will be to beef up the immigrants are rapist narrative will not be met with any kind of real counter messaging from the Democratic Party. And if they don't actually counter message against the Democratic Party, if they don't actually counter message against the Democratic or the Republican Party, that they're going to lose on this issue dramatically. And the media is going to absolutely beef up that narrative in an effort to be contentious.
Around at the border, the reality of reversing the Biden-Trump policy. Okay, well, I'll watch this. So ultimately, the biggest change here with Biden's administration versus Donald Trump so far has been processing asylum seekers and allowing them to come into the country again, right? The Trump administration was like, nope, it's done. It's over because of COVID. We're like totally ending it. And even before that, they were like, if you come here, we're going to murder you. Okay. We're going to lock you in jail for an extended period of time. You're going to have to do slave labor. Sorry, sucks to suck. And we're going to separate you from your children. We're going to do senseless cruelty to you if you try to come into this country. So the big change there is the Biden administration has said, we are processing asylum seekers. So there's still so much more going.
What do you think the media would do for the next 2 months if Kamala came out in favor of the immigration stance you want her to take? Not trying to be snarky, like legit, what's your media analysis? I think Kamala Harris has a very tricky, and I said this already, I said that Kamala Harris has a very tricky situation ahead of her because she can't separate from Joe Biden so dramatically on the issue of immigration. But on the messaging front, she can at least be a little bit more tolerant and drop certain aspects of the Biden campaigning. For example, a right-wing, white nativist immigration bill. Never talk about that ever again. Forget that it existed. Forget that that was a talking point. Forget that the Brandon campaign put that forward. Don't do that. Don't ever do that ever again. Okay? Just move the conversation away from your weaknesses. Okay? Move the conversation away from your weaknesses and redirect the attention back to your strong suits. Okay? Talk about how Donald Trump wants to do mass deportation. Okay? Walk people through the steps on how mass deportation will happen. Because no matter what, Americans lack the vision. They do not understand. They think it sounds good, but they don't understand how psychotic that process would be. No American, as demonstrated under the Trump regime, likes the idea of children in concentration camps. Explain to them that this is exactly like that, if not worse. Mass deportation implies dragnets. It implies BORTAC, like geared up military style, special weapons and tactics, doing door knocking operations in American neighborhoods that are brown. Okay. Donald Trump has routinely brought up Eisenhower's Operation W Word. Okay. Operation W Word. I won't say the word. And how good that is. That was 1.3 million Mexicans and Mexican Americans, mind you, being mass deported from this country, put in concentration camps and mass deported from this country. He's brought that up numerous times as a sick fucking policy that he wants to bring back. Okay?
As soon as we grab, perhaps we take a woman with 2 children, 3 children. She shouldn't be here, but she's a nice woman. The children are beautiful. And all of a sudden it ends up being a front page story of the liberal newspapers. And you're right. It's a hard thing to do. Harder than a long time ago with Dwight Eisenhower, right? A lot harder. Nobody complained. In those days, it was, we had a country that was much different.
But would the media eat that up, or would they side with the Republicans on where they go, but the border and the convoys are a problem? No. The media hates Trump. What are you talking about? The media despises Donald Trump. They hate him. They love shitting on him. Do Do you not remember what it looked like? Do you not remember what it looked like when he was president? The media was talking like the media would literally run coverage on the issue of immigration that was so pro-immigration that myself included, okay, were running around comfortably saying abolish ICE. Okay, what are we talking about? Like abolish ICE was like a thing that had momentum. It's crazy. That wasn't that long ago. That was like 6 years ago. It feels like it was a lifetime ago. I thought you were radical for so long, but I still enjoyed your content. But the longer I watch, the longer I've realized your takes are usually pretty on point. Thanks. I appreciate that you never change stances and you've been consistent, and it shows a lot about you. Yeah, a lot of people claim I'm radical because this society is increasingly more and more sick, okay, and getting worse. Anyway, doesn't the border bill tone down that extreme position? No, dude. The border bill capitulates to the right-wing framing at the heart of that insanely extreme position. Okay? You cannot fight, especially because it's also built around lies. That's what makes me so mad. Because the entire story about immigrants being rapists and drug dealers and murderers is a lie. Okay? I'm over here begging that people in the Democratic Party at least say the truth. That's how far gone we are. Like, say the truth about immigration. Say the truth. Yeah, we already read this article earlier. Say the truth. Immigrants are not a burden on American society. When you don't do that, when you don't actually say the truth, when you don't actually counter message against the right-wing framing on the issue of immigration, you're just dropping that entirely, knowing full well that it's always an exit ramp. People make jokes about this. Everybody knows, oh, it's so... Isn't it weird how every 2 years, whenever there's a midterm election or whenever there's a general election, migrant caravans prop up at the border? All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh my God, there's an invasion happening. Isn't that weird? You know they're going to use this. You know they're going to lie about this. They never stop lying about it. Migrants of the year 2024 are responsible for what? 24 murders, okay? Not hundreds of thousands in the way that Trump is suggesting over and over again. Clip this for October when Fox News talks about the migrant caravan. Yeah, it'll happen.
Going on that there's still so much that needs to be reformed on the back end. But even a little bit of reform has immediately gotten Republicans to act like, the country is falling apart and they're literally burning it to the ground. And now we're going to be waving Guatemalan flags everywhere instead of the American flag, yada, yada.
With active.
You look at these cartel members, brother. You don't understand. Cartel members have changed they've changed the way they look, brother. You think, oh, I'm sorry. You think I'm a sexist? You're willing to tell me that you don't think that these are girl boss cartel members right here, brother? Yeah, I know that these cartels are woke. They're SJW cartels. That's why they got women. They're trying to come in here and do queer Marxism. Republicans be like, they got shoes. Why are they coming in? It seems like they're pretty privileged to me. Looking real privileged to me. This one's got an iPhone. Dude, this video covers very little on beyond what's going on with what people are doing. Kevin McCarthy, minority leader in the House, is literally doing what AOC did, but on the other side,
How do you show that? You can easily say the Dems want them on our welfare. You can say that they're destroying New York City. You can say they're taking resources from underserved communities that are American citizens. How do you properly message along the lines of immigration? What are you talking about? Just show them the data, okay? You can say that the Dems want them on our welfare. We don't have... What welfare state do we have? Undocumented migrants can't take advantage of a lot of these social safety nets that are already like pretty limited to begin with for documented American citizens too. You can say they're destroying New York City. No, they're not. What do you mean? What are we doing? It's literally... It's straight up just madness. It's like when Republicans claim that Portland was on fire all the time. Republicans also think that every Democrat-run city is a crime-ridden shithole where everything is on fire all the time, including but not limited to my own backyard. I've had Republican chatters try to argue with me and claim that no, I'm actually a pussy and I'm blind to the realities of unrestricted crime occurring in my own backyard. And the dude is signing off from like an Ohio suburb telling me that California is a crime-ridden shithole. Once again, these are all long and hard-fought right-wing hysteria that they have worked tirelessly to cultivate over the course of the past 4 years. Capitulating to that framing only puts you on a defensive posture on a losing issue. This is my point. Showing the data didn't work well on crime. Why would it work well on immigration? What do you mean showing the data didn't work well on crime? The fuck are you talking about? No, once the media started talking about like, oh, actually the crime panic was like a little bit too much. It literally, you're so wrong. There was never a moment where the Democrats showed data. They literally leaned into the crime panic narratives as well. It almost cost them the New York gubernatorial race. The Democrats never actually turned around and said, no, this crime shit is like absolutely blown out of proportion. You guys are delusional. They literally were just as Hitlerian as the Republicans are on that narrative. And now we're seeing think pieces be like, how did Americans become so incredibly invested in this crime narrative? It's hard to when you see vids of inner city America. Oh my God. Yes, dude, I know. Anecdotes are more powerful than data analysis. I know this. I understand. The job of our leaders is to actually reason with unreasonable people. You can't say Democrats pushing data didn't work when they didn't do that. They just leaned into the anecdotes and they got scared. How do you guys not understand that this way of thinking leads you down right-wing reactionary rabbit holes in general? Well, everyone believes it, so I guess we have no other option but to lean into it, is unironically a losing posture on every issue. It means you're giving the game to the right wing to dominate the conversation and then playing catch up by leaning into the right wing framing on issues. Anecdotal, I use Facebook because I'm old, and a post about her wanting to sign the border bill on there, easily 80+% of the responses are super in support, saying things like about time, and I didn't know Trump killed it. We need this. Not a single person under 35. None of them know what's in the bill, feel helpless. How do you fight against this at the moment? I can't do anything. You can't do anything either. The Democratic Party could try and at least restructure the message around it. Okay? Yeah, I watched a shark attack video. Beaches are no longer safe. Very reasonable internet paranoia these days. Tyler Oliveira pilled. Anecdotes are so strong, man. Exactly. We never even attempted to show the data. We never even attempted the counter message. I did, but nobody gives a shit. People just yelled at me and said, you're wrong. And even your Democratic Party that you love because you're a libtard doesn't agree with you. It broke the brains of people that are closest to me. My uncle's brain got broken by the crime panic. What are we talking about? I know, I'm trying my best, but it's not like people listen to me until it's far too late. And then they arrive at the same positions that I had for years. And then they go, oh, we were always here. They just lie. Scoop, Kamala Harris is expected to announce her running mate by Tuesday when she will hold her first rally pig with her pig in Philadelphia. The two will then hit Western Wisconsin, Detroit, Raleigh, Savannah, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. Oh, God, it's going to be Josh Shapiro. The campaign aide cautioned against reading too much into the first stop, however. Neoliberals will wait to change their minds on immigration until Bortak breaks down their neighbor's door. Oh. Anyway, look at how much I had to use. Look at how much data I had to use to, like, explain such a simple position. That's why it's so goddamn hard. It's so hard to get people to understand what the truth is when there's so much, of the opposite narrative in the media. Yeah, I mean, listen, Kamala Harris hitting right-wing immigration framing does not change the reality that this is what the Republicans are running with. It's just not looking too good for them.